This is a 1957 Corvette Barn Find story told by Mike Yager at the 2010 Mid-America Fun Fest Corvette Show. Make sure to stay till the end of the video so you can see images of this car that were shown at the auction in 2015 when it was sold for parts.
After being a Corvette enthusiast for 40 years, being in the Corvette business for 37 years, I thought I probably had experienced about everything until July 3rd. I had a gentleman stop by and said, "Hey, I've got an old Corvette. Do you want to buy it?" I said, "Well, what do you have?" And he said, "Well, it's a 57. Next question was, "Well, what kind of a price range?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know. I've been looking in magazines, so I kind of thought, well, I know what price he's going to be asking for it." And so he gave me a price range, and I said, "Well, that's interesting. Can I go see it?" And he said, "Well, if you can go today, because I'm going to be in Louisiana tomorrow." But he said, "I've had this car in a barn for 35 years. So my brother Kenny and I jumped in one of our Corvettes. We followed this guy 40 miles from our office, stopped in the middle of the country, and we're going, well, there's no barn here. We looked down this road, a road about 200, 250 feet long with weeds chest high, and he said it was down there. So we started walking down this weedy road, and finally a barn came into view, and he said, "Well, it's in that building," but he said the door's nailed shut. So we got found a 10-foot pry bar at one of the old outbuildings, pried the door open and got the door open about 2 feet, and a tree had grown up in the way of the barn door, and we couldn't get the barn door open, but I could see the headlight in there. So Kenny and I are thinking, man, is this a fuel-injected car? Is this an airbox car? Is it going to have both tops? What's it going to be? Well, if you look over in our midway, you see the 57 Corvette that's over there. 35 years in a barn. The raccoon family, the possum family that had been living in the family for more than a generation, many generations. There's a dead possum carcass on the front seat, bones only. It had been there for who knows how long. So, long story short, I asked the guy, I said, "Well, would a check for X buy the car?" And he said, "Yes." And people who have bought cars, you know, when a seller agrees on your offer instantly, you go, "I offer too much." But it's an awesome car. We took a flatbed trailer over the next day, took the car out, and Kenny and I were following it, and there was so much dust blowing off of that car, just absolutely incredible. 35 years in that barn, pretty dirty. So it's over on the midway, and it was just one of those experiences in life to buy something like that. So I thought, well, maybe at Fun Fest this year, I'll wash it. I'll put it out. 35 years of dirt and grime and animal droppings on it. We'll just wash the car. And as I talked about that on Facebook and with some of my Corvette friends, they said, put the car in the museum. So we're going to put the car in the museum as is, except for some of the dead rodents, Laurie. We'll take those out. But stop by and look at that. That was probably one of the highlights of my 40 years of Corvette ownership, was buying that old car, and I guess taking my brother Kenny with me was pretty special too. He said it looked like all of his Corvettes. Sorry on that one, Kenny.